Today we shall discuss Science for Class 3, Methods of Communication. We are looking at the way we live, means of communication and methods of communication. Social Science class. We can communicate from one person to another when we are sitting across and speak. We can communicate to a person who is a little far by shouting or talking very loud. But when there are more number of persons, and if the persons are in different places, then communication, we need some other method other than talking. In good old days, when man was hunter and gatherer, people used to sit on the top of tree and shout, and then they will come to know whether a wild animal is coming, whether a prey is coming, whether they will be able to catch an animal. The type of sound that they used to make were similar to other animal sounds. So suppose a deer had come and they want to hunt the deer will not know the man is there. That is how they used to communicate when they were living in the jungles. Later, man invented languages, he started speaking. But then he wanted to speak to a person in different language or communicate, that is to share some information with a faraway person. So of the various means of communication, telephone is one-to-one communication. When you use a speakerphone, you can make more people hear or more people talk. Fax is a method of sending a document to a person who is far away. Television and radio is one-to-many communication. One newsreader will read in a TV and then so many people can watch that information through sitting in their homes. That is television, one-to-many communication. Then we have a satellite which takes the information from one country in the world and then transmits to all over the globe. This is the help of artificial satellites that man had sent into the space. The information is sent out or received through a dish antenna when we are using satellite for the communication. Computer is the most modern means of communication. So many computers are connected to each other, we call it as a network or internet. Internet has replaced almost all other means of communication today because internet can transmit voice, audio, video, visuals, document, data, everything. So internet has replaced most of the means of communication. But the first means of communication after the man started talking is the letters. He used to send letter through the post office. He used to write a letter, give it to the post box or the postman, and then it will go to the post office. They will stamp it. They will send to the other country based on the pin code, knowing where it has to go. From there, they will send it to the destination or the place of the recipient's post office. The postman will deliver at home. So there used to be stamps based on which the post office will know this has been paid for transmission. Then came the newspapers and magazines. In newspapers and magazines, when the printing technology was invented, it was again possible. Many people can write their views and give it to the newspaper company. They will print it and distribute to hundreds of thousands of people. Now newspapers are printed in almost every town and city. In good old days, before Indian independence, newspaper used to be printed only in a few cities. And then it has to be carried to other cities. So what happens, by the time the newspaper reaches there, the news would have become old. So, but at any point in time, you can read a newspaper. A TV or a radio news, you have to hear then and there. After some time, when you try to hear, there won't be a news bulletin. It will be some other program. Cinema is the most important form of communication. Again, you will record what somebody wants to say or do and then play it on a screen for so many people to see at so many places. It is a means of communicating through entertainment and education. This YouTube video that you are watching is another form of communication in the form of one-to-many. When this is recorded here, so many people can see this over YouTube and so many other places. Use of internet to watch a movie type of document. Movies can be documentaries also. Communicate is to pass on information. What do you do to convey a message? How do you pass on information? You talk to them, you write on a piece of paper and give it, you call on phone and speak. Different ways you pass on an information. You send a circular, you send a notice. Sending or receiving messages is communication. Sending or receiving messages is communication. Email and mobile phone is very popular today. Email and mobile phone is very popular today. But earlier, people used to send letters or telegrams. In good old days, people used to send letters or telegrams when they have to send or receive a message, when they have to communicate. Even before that, messages were passed on by tying a small piece of information to the legs of a pigeon, and pigeon will fly and reach there. Then people on horseback used to carry the messages. It used to be written on a roll and then the king will give it, and then the horseman will go and give it to the another neighboring king, saying, enemy kingdom is attacking me, please help, whatever it is. So science and technology has made life today easier for communication. This is the post box on which we put our letter. Then postman comes, takes it from here, takes it to the post office. Then they stamp the letter that it has been received in this post office. Then it goes to the post office of the person to whom the message has to go. Here we write the pin code. We also call it a zip code in Western countries. So this will tell where is the destination, where the letter should go, in which post office it should reach. After that, again the postman carries a letter and gives it to the person to whom the letter is addressed. Here we address the to address, to where it should go. Here we write the from address, from where it should go. This we call as an inland letter, which is used for sending messages within India. This is a postcard for very short messages. Here anybody can read what you write. Here it will be sealed, you cannot read. And this is an airmail envelope. Airmail envelope is normally used when you send a letter to a person outside India. These are the different types of famous stamps issued by post offices in India commemorating this, Sarojini Naidu or Balagangadhar Tilak and others, which is used to be affixed here instead of pre-printed. This is pre-printed, but here you have to put a stamp. Based on how distant it is, how heavy it is, the stamps will be there and the post office will carry. Collecting postal stamps was called philately. It was a very popular hobby some 20 years back. Letters. Letter. Most common means of communication is a letter. We can write letter to our near and dear ones, living away from us and send by post. We can write letters to our near and dear ones, friends and relatives who live away from us and send by post. We use postcard, inland letter, airmail, envelope, postage stamp, postal cover, etc. to send letters. We use postcard, inland letter, airmail, envelope, postage stamp, postal cover, etc. to send the letters. India has one of the largest postal services in the world. India has one of the largest postal services in the world. India postal services handle letter, money order, parcel, etc. Letter, money order, parcel, etc. Money order is instead of sending a letter, you send money. You give the money to the post office here, the postman there will deliver the money. Postal index number, in Western world it is called zip code, helps to identify which post office should deliver the letter at a destination. Postal index number helps to identify which post office should deliver the letter at destination. Speed post and courier has come in today. It delivers faster. Speed post and courier delivers faster. Registered post provides proof of delivery. Registered post provides proof of delivery. Telegraph cable can deliver short messages quickly. In telegraph, we don't send 100 lines. We send only 2 lines of message or 3 lines of message. Telegraph cable sends a short message. I am sick. Please come immediately. Then you send only telegram. You don't send a letter. Telegram is delivered within few hours. What is telephone? These are the good old telephones. What you see on the right hand side is the old model of telephone. What you see on the left is a touch mode of telephone. These are fixed line telephones. These are connected to the wire and the wire is connected to the telephone exchange. Nowadays, few people use this telephone. Everybody uses mobile phone. Telephone is the fastest means of communication because it is instant and two-way. When you say hello, the other person there immediately says hello back. Like a letter, you don't have to wait for the letter to reach there, then they will read, then they will write their response, and then they will send it by post. Not like that. Subscriber trunk dialing, international subscriber dialing. These are the facilities by which, in India, a fixed telephone using person can talk to a person in another town, another state, or another country. International subscriber dialing is when you want to call somebody from India to another country, you use ISD services. Mobile phone helps to talk to the person wherever they are, not like a fixed phone. He can be on the street, he can be shopping, he can be in the temple, he can be in the park, wherever it is. It will be carried in person because it works without wires. Cellular technology is what mobile phones use. Facsimile. What is a fax? Fax is a mechanism by which we can make a copy of the document get printed in a different faraway place. Instead of sending a letter or instead of talking on phone, fax is a mixture of these two. It is in the form of a letter, but immediately it will happen. Just like a phone, when you put the paper on the fax machine and punch the number, it will get printed at the other end. Fax is a mechanism by which we can make a copy of the document printed in a different faraway place electronically. It is a letter plus phone. If you send a fax from Chennai to New York, it will get printed an exact copy as it was in Chennai at the printer or fax machine in New York. It will get printed within a minute in New York immediately. What is mass communication? When you have to communicate to many people, it is called mass communication. If the message or information is to be passed on to a large number of people at the same time, distributed across different places, we will use methods of mass communication. If a message of information is to be passed on to a large number of people, if the message is to be passed on at the same time, if the message is to be passed on to the people distributed across different places, then we will use mass communication. Newspaper and magazine are popular means of mass communication. In a newspaper, a news will come, thousands of hundreds of people can read that news when it was in printed in a printing press, the newspaper press. Today, newspapers are printed in lakhs and crores copies. Newspaper or magazine makes the news available to different places. The digital means of communication, mass communication, are broadcast and telecast. Broadcast means voice or audio is sent out. Telecast means visuals are sent out. So in TV we call it as telecast, in radio we call it as a broadcast. Now internet has taken over provision of online real-time information on anything and everything. Telephone is one person to another, immediately information passes on. In fact, a page is printed, whatever page is input here, that is printed at the another place immediately. Internet is, it will give real-time online information on anything and everything. Broadcast is, you are sending one-to-many message, internet also does this. In telecast, you send a visual message one-to-many, in internet also you can do that. So internet can do voice, internet can do visuals, internet can do data, internet can do document transfer from one-to-many, same time, real time, online. So these are examples of the newspapers, various newspapers that are published in India. For example, the Hindu, Business Line is a financial newspaper, the Pioneer. You have newspapers in all the regional languages. So you have in Malayalam, in Tamil, in Hindi. This is Hindustan Times, this is Times of India. Various newspapers are there. There are newspapers which are special for finance, special for film news, special for sports news. This is certain financial newspapers are pink in color. For example, the Financial Express. Then we have magazines. Some magazines are weekly, some are monthly, some are quarterly. Some magazines are news based, some are entertainment based, some are education based. So you have different magazines. Newspaper bring in daily a fresh news. Every day they bring in a different news. Magazines normally talk about something that has been happening for continuously for quite some time. This is an example of radio where you have a one-way audio communication. News and other articles, people speak on the radio and we can hear. So many people can hear at the same time in different places. This is an old television where the information will be telecast, the visuals will be telecast from the television station. In India it is called Doordarshan, and then it can be seen by people in various cities at the same time. This is a loudspeaker when you have to make an announcement. You have a school assembly, 1,000 students are standing there, then the principal will make announcements on the speaker. If there are 10 or 20 students, you can just talk. If there are 1,000 students, for everybody to hear, you use a speaker. So newspapers carry the information of all that is happening around us. Reporters collect the information as and when something happens somewhere. They are called journalists. The people who collect information as and when something happens somewhere is a journalist, and they report to the newspaper. Newspapers carry the information of all that is happening around us. Magazines carry articles on the event that happened recently. Magazines carry opinions, arguments for and against, viewpoints, etc. And it is not just reporting like a newspaper what just happened. Radio and television. These are electronic mass communication channels. They carry not only news but entertainment, education, and social programs. The electronic mass communication, radio and television carry not only news but entertainment, education, and social impact programs. Radio, we can only hear when they say what they say. In television, we can only see when they show what they show. So if the news is at 8 o'clock in a radio or a television, we have to listen to the radio or see the television at 8 o'clock. At 9, we will not see the same thing. It will be something different. But in newspaper, we can read the newspaper, what comes in the morning, even in the evening or tomorrow. Radio and TV programs can be received almost anywhere, even where newspapers cannot reach. It is faster means of communication and no need for people to know to read. You can watch the visuals or hear the news. You don't need to read. So illiterates can also use radio, and newspaper. Cinema. Best means of communication to tell the story is cinema. Cinema is the best means of communication to tell the story. Movies and documentaries are the types of cinema. It is entertaining and educative. Cinema is entertaining and educative. Message is quietly passed on, packed in the form of entertainment. In cinema, message is passed on, packed in the form of entertainment. Awareness means bring in knowledge of something. Awareness means bring in knowledge about something. Broadcast means transmit. These are major keywords. Thanks for watching this video. If you like, please subscribe to get notified.